So what is IPEC GOAT exactly? It's a video that's on YouTube by Heliofont, but they have their own website. So when you just Google Heliofont, heliofont.com comes up, and then you get to the video that's on Vimeo. Here it tells about the company. Now, all the world's a stage. This is an AI created video, and it's giving you the next 9/11 because Bush was in the classroom on the first 9/11. Like there's Lily, there's Trump sitting right there with his upside down pyramid hand signal, and he's got the antlers right over his head. And Lily here is sitting inside a corona, which represents a total solar eclipse. So we'll get into that. Here's the right eye wound. The Antichrist has a deadly wound to his right eye. So Trump is here. He is here. He is here. The egghead boy that's getting programmed by Draco, because that's through the technology. See, he's connected by a cord, and he's inside a computer. Where's the man in the boat? Does the man in the boat? Where is our man in the boat? Oh, Fire of Truth. But it doesn't really give a name for the man in the boat. And when they first show the man in the boat, a trump blows or a horn, and the horn is the Antichrist. And the end times book of Daniel, the Antichrist is referred to as the horn. And Jesus said the Antichrist would be here in his own name. And a trump is a horn, and a horn is a trump. So he's literally here in his own name. So IPEC GOAT starts off with Bush back in the classroom. And the lady, he's in the classroom. Let me find her for you. So you see the lady here. She's representing the school teacher when he was in Sarasota. Because that's where he was when the twin Trumps or the twin towers got hit. And he's got a D on his hat, and we know that stands for Donald, even though you would say, well, that's a dunce hat. We get that. Shark, beast out of the sea reference. And there's so much to this video. The hanged man and how Trump is the hanged man. We've seen all that symbolism. I don't have enough time to do like a massive breakdown on this. You see Trump sitting there with this upside down pyramid hand signal with the deer antlers over his head. And we know Trump sits many times or every time like that. I mean, every time he was on David Letterman, he just sat there, sat up in the chair, and would flash that hand signal, which is the divine feminine. Here's Trump again with his flash. And it's Mystery Babylon. It's the divine feminine. It's how they signal each other. One of the myriad of ways they signal each other. They signal each other through words, and they signal each other through hand signals mainly. We know that Trump has an upside down pyramid of 6 by 6 by 6 bushes at Trump Tower, and the address at Trump Tower is 721 through 725, which matches the horn And Daniel 7 is the Antichrist, Daniel 7:21 through 7:25. So how perfect that Trump Tower, the horn, Trump, horn, matches that exact address. And that's what Ghostbusters in the Tower was all about. Trump came out of Trump Tower in the Bobby Brown Ghostbusters 2 music video. He came out of Trump Tower, turned around and looked up to the top of Trump Tower, as if to say, my tower at the very top is where all the spiritual mojo is taking place, because that's what Ghostbusters was all about, was the spiritual mojo at the top of that tower. But it's 6 by 6 by 6 bushes, as you can see. Bush, female reproductive, 666, which is what the 666 hand signal is with the yoni that he also does nonstop. When he was running for president, it was crazy how often he would throw up the 666, which is putting the two fingers, the thumb and the index together and the other three. So it's a 6 and a 6 and a 6. That's kind of a long story. But here's an example of it, and it's over his right eye, which is where the Antichrist will get the deadly wound, of course. Bill Clinton throwing up the yoni. Well, Trump did this nonstop, if you remember, during his every speech he did, and it's constant. There it is. Oh, I knew it was somewhere. So they just kind of show you the 6 and the 6 and the 6. So you get the 0 part of the 6, and then the first one makes a 6, and the second one makes a 6, and the third one makes a 6, and it's a 666. But it's the yoni. Excuse me. It's the divine feminine signal. That's what 666 is all about. In 007, when he shot in Skyfall and had the right eye wound over his right eye, he was saved after going over the waterfall, which waterfall is a gigantic symbolism for the divine feminine that they use. It's not the waterfall's fault. It's just what they choose. You see the 666. This is in the opening credits, the opening song of Skyfall, sung by Adele. And you see the yoni hand signal. He is saved by the divine feminine. But more to the point about the stag in Skyfall. Skyfall, which was Trump's home, or James Bond's home, in Scotland, where Trump's mom was born and raised. And James Bond's mom was born and raised in Scotland, just like Trump's. And when 007 went back to his home, it was repped with that deer antler, because the antlers fall off and then they regenerate. And in the movie, he said that his hobby was resurrection. And you see, Skyfall is really 2 words, because it's all about the sky falling, or the wrath of God at the very end of time. Everything on this earth is about the divine feminine. It's Lucifer who has shapeshifted to a female per God's instruction. Satan only does what God has ordained. So this is Mystery Babylon. It's the whore of Babylon. It's the tree goddess. It's grove worship. It's what Christmas is all about. Easter, all of it. Fertility. Queen of heaven, queen of the universe. World religions based out of Rome, where you pray to her. And every world religion all comes back to the goddess. So Lily, oh Lily, Herman Munster. So she's got a big apple in her hand, which represents New York City. So will it take place in the Big Apple? Will it take place in New York City? So there's Trump with a deer antler and the hand signal. That's what all of that was about, me just making sure that you knew that. And now you get into, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. So she's sitting inside a corona. The corona is an outer ring of a total solar eclipse. And she's sitting inside of this year's total solar eclipse because it's only this year's total solar eclipse that delivers the flower full moon. There's also a total solar next year in April, but it's early in April, so it doesn't deliver the flower full moon. It delivers April's full moon. I think it's called the pink full moon in April. So, Lily, you now see Year of the Rabbit in the background and Trump exit. Over Trump's head, you see the word exit kind of in that red color. And she looks very sad. But as she sits inside the corona, I see it as the new moon. And being a former astrologer, the new moon, the full moon was always what what began at the new moon culminated at the full moon. So, and there's the rabbit in the background, Donnie Darko, the rabbit. You know, Donnie Darko, Donald Darkin, right eye utterly darkened, Zechariah 11:17. So, you know, the right eye Raiders with a right eye darkened eye patch played the Jets on 11:17. The utterly right eye, utterly darkened Bible verse, Jets what hit the twin Trumps. What would you call a football team, the Jets? I mean, come on. Jets and Giants. Giants because of the Nephilim, the Giants in those days, straight out of the Bible. And the Jets is what hit Donnie and killed him in Donnie Darko. Now, notice the sadness is at 123 of the video, and day 123 is May 3rd. And The Dark Knight came out on July 18th, and The Dark Knight Rises on the 20th, on the third day, 18th to the 20th. Now, they were 4 years apart, and they were both on leap years. And this, you know, if iPetGoat's really lying to us, there's no reason to believe it is until we just pass through. The only other thing that, if it's not telling you this, you do have the 2 moons in August, and you see the 2 heads connected there, like Siamese twins connected at the head. There's a blue moon August 30th. So these could be because all of these characters, there's 12 of them. But there's 13 moons this year. Where's the 13th? Well, it's in her hand. She is the total solar eclipse, which is the new moon. And now she looks sad at 123, the taking of Pelham 123. 123 was in the lyrics. Pelham 123, which was a movie about a subway, numbered 123, Pelham 123, in the song by the Beastie Boys, Sure Shot. And on my other channel that I don't share on Facebook and so forth, but we really detailed those lyrics and so forth. But it's at the 123 mark of the video where she looks very sad. And so the new moon now delivers the flower full moon. And there's flowers are all over the stamps of King Charles, who's about to get his coronation or whatever you want to call it on May 6th, the day after the flower full moon. They created all these stamps in England, a new collection of stamps to commemorate this. And there's flowers all over the stamps for the flower full moon. And one is a lotus. And this is a lotus. And lotus is what Trump gave the Pope. And lotus is all about rebirth in a world religion. And so that's what this is really all about, you know. And then they're in the classroom, you know, where the twin Trumps took place, where Bush was when the twin Trumps went down, and you see the American flag being torn. So right as soon as Trump goes down, you're going to get the chaos. The flag is rent in two, and in the movie The Dark Knight Rises, they showed the American flag, two of them next to each other, and they were both shredded, and Bane had taken over. So the world, 1 out of 4 people on the earth are going to die. That's the pale horse. And there's your twin Trumps or twin towers. And they're going to, of course, they're going to fall. They're showing you the next 9/11 has taken place. Trump is down. But it's a body double switch. The same actor and actors and director, lead actor, co-star actor, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, and the same director, Christopher Nolan, they all did The Dark Knight Rises, you know, which came out on the 3rd day, July 18th. Next one, Dark Knight Rises, July 20th, letting you know rises on the 3rd day, like Jesus rose on the 3rd day. Well, the same director and those same 2 actors did a movie called The Prestige, which is all about body double cloning from Tesla, and Trump's uncle knew Tesla. So here is going to be the first time you see the Antichrist and the horn blows. Ooh, I got it too fast, so hang on. So here's the man in the boat. Hang on just a... So New York appears to be underwater, and there's no telling how they could do that, but they can do that. Tsunami, nuclear, underwater explosion, or just symbolism. I don't know. But now here's the rebirthing process that's taking place. That's why I said he's the egghead kid. So he's going to be going through the rebirthing, or that resurrection, and it's through the AI, or that goes to the machine, because that's what all goats will receive, the mark, the spiritual mark. Their bodies will be overtaken by the demonic realm, like the movie The Exorcist showed you, like the movie Venom showed you. And so he's being programmed. You see he's attached by this cord, and he's getting programmed. And right in here, the first time you see the man in the boat, you're going to hear the horn blow, the trump, or the trumpet. And so there it is. And there's that heart that everybody makes, you know, with their hands. They make that heart signal, which is divine feminine type symbolism. The Roman world religion that's based out of Rome, at a city-state where the obelisk faces the dome, just like the obelisk faces the dome at the city-state here. They call it the Washington Monument. Obelisk, lost penis of Osiris. The dome represents the divine feminine, or the womb. So it's the rebirthing process. That's what the obelisk facing the dome is. And the obelisk at the Vatican actually came from Egypt itself. That's why we have a pyramid on the back of our dollar bill. Their whole world is Isis, Egypt, the divine feminine, the mother goddess. So there he's finished being programmed. He's also the right eye wound boy. So all of these are representations. And it's so funny in Skyfall, Bond was in a boat and went through a dragon while he was standing in a boat. And when he was standing in the boat, he had the same like dazed look on his face. It's the most incredible. I really broke that down hardcore. But there's your divine feminine, your womb, the rebirth, so on and so forth. And so he comes rising. So there's your snow, Day of the Dead symbolism, which opened up Spectre. It was Day of the Dead. And you see him coming out of the abyss, rising. The Dark Knight rises. There's his right eye wound, utterly darkened. Again, that's Zechariah 11:17. And of course, the jets that hit Donnie Darko and killed Donnie and Donnie Darko, the jet engine, the jets hit the Twin Trumps. The New York Jets played the right eye, utterly darkened Raiders on 11:17, representing the Bible verse, Zechariah 11:17. And it was called the Heidi game or the Heidi Bowl because they preempted the game to put on a television show called Heidi. And then on Groundhog Day, on the marquee, the Bill Murray Groundhog Day movie, he walked past a movie marquee that said Heidi 2, Saturday, Sunday matinee. And the flower full moon is on Friday. And we just can't imagine what Saturday and Sunday would be like. King's coronation, UFC 288, 88 is Trump and Gematria. It is the number of the man, like the Bible verse, SIX, SIX, SIX comes to Donald John Drumpf in Gematria. Drumpf was the family surname. We've shown you that many times. DRUMPF. Even Snopes agreed that, yes, that was the family surname at one time. And that represents the Bible prophecy of being the number of the name of the Antichrist. And Don Drumpf comes to 666 in English gematria, which is English ordinal or simple gematria times 6, but it is one of the ciphers. And SIX, SIX, SIX in gematria comes to Donald John Drumpf. So the Drumpf name is where you get the 666, number of the man. And then Trump is the other Bible prophecy where Jesus said he would be here in his own name. Jesus said, I come in my Father's name and you receive me not. No, this was Christ talking. He is Christ. He said, I come in my Father's name and ye receive me not. But if another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Another what will come in his own name? Another Christ, right? The Antichrist will have seemingly risen from the dead, and all of the goat community are going to be handed over to it. And so he's got the right eye wound and he's rising up and he's going through a full moon. And we do have the flower full moon coming up. If it's not, then this video is basically lying to you, unless it's the blue moon. And then if it doesn't occur 2 days before the blue moon, rise on the third day, so that'd be August 28th, rise on August 30th, then you have to throw out iPet Goat completely, and this has just been a gigantic psychological operation. And then you would have to move on to the other tells, like Donnie Darko, which did take place during the election year and the election of Bush and George H. Walker Bush. And, I can't think of that guy's name that he beat. But it was the election of 88. and that was the backdrop of Donnie Darko, was the election in October. The election was on, I believe, November 8th, but the whole backdrop of the movie was in the month of October prior to it. So Dukakis, that's who it was. The movie opened up with, "I'm voting for Dukakis." And it was said by the same girl who was Bruce Wayne's love interest in The Dark Knight, Maggie Gyllenhaal, who is the sister of Jake Gyllenhaal, who played Donnie. So they played brother and sister in the movie, just like they are in real life. And Maggie Gyllenhaal is the only person to be in both movies like that, to be in Donnie Darko and to be in The Dark Knight. Very interesting. So anyway, is that the flower full moon? Because it was delivered by Lily at the total solar, as she sat in the total solar eclipse as the new moon. Now, this coming flower full moon is a penumbral eclipse. Not all solar eclipses that give you a new moon, the subsequent full moon is not always an eclipse. Or maybe perhaps rarely it is. Well, this year it is. You have a total solar eclipse April 20th and a penumbral lunar eclipse, flower full moon, May 5th. And this also is the Kentucky Derby on May 6th, and View to a Kill was all about horse racing. All right. Anyway, love y'all.